Good evening, I'm CJ Massey alongside CJ Long.
And thanks for joining us on our first episode of CJ and CJ from the Basement. Today in our first part of the segment, we're going to be discussing the Arizona Cardinals and how they look forward to improving upon their previous season.
After a slow and very disappointing start, 1-6 last season for the Arizona Cardinals, they managed to go on a run towards the end and almost found themselves in a playoff spot, ending up 8-8 and second in the division. There was a lot of noise in the offseason about whether Peyton Manning would sign with the team and improve the quarterback position, which, since he didn't sign, there's a big debate going on right now whether who's going to be starting a quarterback for the Cardinals in 2012, and we're going to get into that here in just a minute. Overall, it was a very quiet offseason for the Cardinals, but although they didn't make any big free agent moves, they did re-sign some of their key players from last season. They'll be returning pretty much the same defense, which heated up towards the end of the year during that stretch. And through the draft, they really hit on some big-time needs. So, I mean, with that said, it really, based on the finish of last season, their upgrades in the draft, they really have the fans hopeful for 2012.
Yeah, looking forward, like you just said, with their main acquisitions coming through the draft in the offseason, they brought in Michael Floyd, a big-time wide receiver out of Notre Dame at 6'3", 225, who will be really, it's going to be pivotal for him to be able to take some of the pressure off of Larry Fitzgerald, who, as we know last year, with the absence of Steve Breston and Anquan Bolden, really had a lot of weight on his shoulders to try to carry the team on his back. So that draft pick in the first round will be very important in taking some of that heat off of Fitzgerald. Their second round pick, Jamel Fleming, a cornerback, we'll see what he can do. Patrick Peterson right now is already starting at one cornerback spot. We'll see if Fleming can put some pressure on the second cornerback, and as well as Patrick Peterson, he's really needed to step up this year to see if he can increase the defensive play in terms of pass defense, as they were ranked 18th in the NFL this past season. Another thing we'd like to talk about is the acquisitions, or lack thereof, that the Cardinals had through free agency. Their only main signing was Adam Snyder from the 49ers, an offensive lineman, and that's really a needed acquisition based on their 31st ranked offensive line this past season. Also the 5th lowest amount of rushing attempts for Beanie Wells. So the offensive line is really going to play a big part in the Cardinals' upcoming season. But CJ, I'll tell you, I just really don't think that they made enough pickups in the offseason.
You know, that's a great debate. I mean, you know, they needed the offensive line help. You know, that was obvious. You know, they got their guy that they wanted, but you would kind of think that they would maybe want a little bit more than, you know, just one guy. You know, it's tough in the NFL with as much money as these players want to go out and sign numerous guys all at once, but you still would like to see a little bit more out of the offseason. Like I said, they had a good draft, but
right, and especially in Arizona, a smaller market team, they don't have the money like Dallas or a New York City market where they can just go out and get whatever player they want. But, you know, like you just said, you still would have liked to see them do a little bit more with other teams in the division making key moves to help improve their football team. I mean, the Rams, they get a new coach in Jeff Fisher. They sign a cornerback from Tennessee, Cortland Finnegan, and then they also get a really clutch third down receiver in Steve Smith, an ex-New York Giant, to help boost their roster. The Seahawks go after Matt Flynn. They sign Kellen Winslow Jr. as well, and they really bolster their offense with an attack that already had Marshawn Lynch as one of the top running backs in the NFL. And, you know, who can forget the 49ers going to the NFC Championship game, one of the top defenses in the NFL, and they're going to return just as strong as ever. So really the Cardinals didn't do the greatest job in being able to equal off-season acquisitions like the rest of the team in their division. Like I just stated, the offensive line is going to be a big question, as well as the quarterback position. We'll get to those questions and more coming up after the break, as I'm put on the hot seat by CJ Massey and Massey's Main Points.
Are you ready? Wow! Go! Wow! Are you ready? I can't do this! Go! No way! Not even for some Bud Light?
Fresh, smooth, real Bud Light.
See you, dude! Wait!
Welcome back, everybody, to CJ and CJ from the Basement as we get ready to kick off our final segment of the show, the Bud Light Bold Predictions. What this prediction section really is we'll reel off some bold predictions for the upcoming season dependent upon which team we are discussing on the given day. Up today, of course, is the Arizona Cardinals, and my first bold prediction for them is that Kevin Kolb will be your Week 1 starter. You can take it to the bank. I just really think that with Kevin Kolb's veteran leadership, and if he can stay healthy throughout the season, he'll have a pretty decent year. I just think going through training camp and through preseason, he'll really outperform John Skelton, as I just think his talent is just that much better than Skelton out of Fordham University. Once again, prediction number 1, Kevin Kolb will be wearing the red and white starting uniform in Week 1.
Hey, that sounds like a great prediction. My prediction is, we call it a bold prediction for a reason. This one could be a little out there to some, but I'm going out on a limb, and I'm going to say that the Arizona Cardinals are going to have a very strong defense this year, more improved over last season, mainly because they're returning pretty much the exact same starters this year as they had last year. And we know that they were a little weak at the beginning of the year and inconsistent, but towards the end of the year, they really went on a tear. And, you can look at it many different ways why they started off slow. I believe that it was because of the shortened NFL offseason, last offseason. They had a new defensive coordinator come in. They didn't have enough time to get together with him fully and learn the playbook and, really get the personnel out to where it needs to be for the defense. And I think what we saw towards the end of last year when they went on their run, really gives the defense high hopes this year. And I think with if they have consistent defense, and more importantly, consistent quarterback play, I think they'll have a winning record this year. They might clock in at 9-7, and depending on the rest of the division, I might even go out on a limb and give them a wild card.
Wild card berth. Wow, really bold prediction there, Siege. I'm going to have to disagree with that one. I just don't think that they have the offensive firepower, like we discussed in Massey's main points. I just don't think that their offensive line is strong enough to carry their offense through an entire season. Levi Brown, like we said, is getting up there in age. I just really don't think that they're going to have the type of strength that they need to be able to overcome their tough schedule, 8th toughest schedule in the NFL. I just think it'll be really difficult for them to overcome that. Like I said, them playing Detroit, Green Bay, New England, those type of teams, it's just going to be real tough for me to give them 9-7. I'm going to go 7-9 on the season. I'm going to go 3rd place finish in the division behind San Francisco and Seattle. So there are our predictions, our division standings. There you have it for the Arizona Cardinals. Thanks for watching CJ and CJ from the Basement. Join us next time as we come right at you with the Atlanta Falcons.